very shortly.
Now, you got to tell me, did you write some new songs for this episode, or what kind of music are you using?
The music is still in production. We're probably just going to have some kind of weird, mystical, new age soundtracks to it. I'm still working on a few additional shoots to complete the episode. It'll be narrated, but yeah, it's a work in progress at this point.
Nice.
I suppose at this point, the sky's the limit.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're the kind of film director that likes to get the rough cut completed before any music is added to it. Is that right?
Yeah, usually. A lot of times I like to maybe find a piece of stock music that I feel like really fits the style I'm going for, and then I edit to that, and then I show a portion to our song composer, Peter Vargas, and he kind of matches the feel of that with an original composition.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that'll be something to look forward to, huh? Is this going to be a YouTuber that we can all watch, or are you going to have a showing, premiere or anything?
Well, I'm imagining, because of all of the full frontal nudity in the video, that it will be taken down from YouTube. I am working on a rebuttal, but it's also kind of inspiring me, a rebuttal, right? Yeah. It's also inspiring me to, finally create an actual website for the show where I can have full control over what we host. You know, it will be out there somehow for people to see, but I'm kind of letting myself create the episode first before I really worry about that.
Yeah, there you go. And of course, if you're drafting the rebuttal even before it's being aired, then we know kind of what we're going to get ourselves into here. But
yeah,
that's almost like you have to do that nowadays. You know, with even I was talking with Grant Cameron this weekend, and he has written a couple books about rock and roll music that was inspired by extraterrestrials, potentially, where some of the songwriters, famous songwriters like the Stones, the Beatles, the Who, and all those kinds of guys, some of them claim to be abducted and or had sightings of UFOs and were inspired to write music. But when he does his lectures at around the country, he has a problem getting taken down. His videos get taken down just because it has portions of copyrighted music in it. So I know how that goes. It's a tough thing.
Oh yeah. It's just essentially it's just an algorithm that kind of just finds the music, and it without question it will take it down, and then you have the options to say, hey, I'm actually using this legally because I'm either commenting on the music or as part of an educational piece, or whatever. But
that's the Fair Use Act, of course, where some people can do those kinds of things with copyrighted material, but as long as you're doing it with certain parameters, you can do that. But you got to look it up. You got to talk to your local paranormal lawyer to find all that stuff out. So.
Yeah, and I'm really glad I happen to be good friends with a paranormal lawyer.
That's right. We got you back, man.
Awesome.
Hey, so I know you got to take off here soon. Is there any other thing that you need to let us know about here from Olympia or elsewhere that you've run across here last week?
Yeah, well, I mean, I definitely would just like to encourage anyone in the Olympia area to check out Last Word Books. They're a great friend of the show, and there's actually a Pacific North Weird pick shelf where you can see some of our favorite Pacific Northwest themed paranormal books, and you can check stuff out like there. Yeah, Last Word Books in downtown Olympia, and please go to pacificnorthweird.com. That at this point leads you right to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe, look at some videos, share them. We have a lot of fun stuff on there, and I'm currently editing about 6 different episodes right now. So, in the next couple of months, there's going to be a huge amount of new material coming out, and it's going to be really great.
Oh, great. Just for the holiday season, you're going to have some new episodes, huh?
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you again, Vince, for taking your time tonight to come up with the paranormal news update. And I'm glad to hear that Olympia is rocking tonight down there.
Yep, and yeah, we are making Olympia paranormal again.
Good for you. All right, Vince. Thank you so much, buddy. You have a good time, and have one for me down there.
I'll have a couple for you, Michael. Thanks.
All right. Talk to you later, buddy.
Good night. Bye.
Well, that's our friend Vince Inzunza. And Vince is, if you haven't checked out Pacific North Weird yet, even if you're in Canada or the UK, you can check that out on YouTube, anywhere on the internet. Pacific North Weird. Just spell it out, and you'll see all sorts of interesting episodes that Vince has done over the years about strange paranormal activity and videos and music that he's put together, not just regarding the Pacific Northwest in the United States, but all sorts of strange materials out there. And speaking of strange materials, by the way, we are going to have a really interesting show coming up in a few minutes because I have got Maureen Morgan going to be calling in very shortly here, and we're going to be talking about, she is the state of Washington MUFON director, and she is going to be talking about the historic UFO reports in the state of Washington that happened well before Kenneth Arnold's sighting over Mount Rainier in 1947, at the end of June of that year, and well before the Roswell, New Mexico sightings in the early part of July 9th or 8th, 1947. So she has done a lot of research on this subject of historic UFO sightings prior to the major sightings that everyone points to at the beginning of the whole idea of the UFO term being coined by Kenneth Arnold. But also, I am going to play some other clips that I have gotten from this last weekend where we had an amazing time up in Canada at the Caribou Paracon, which is a fantastic conference up in the middle of British Columbia, Canada. And it's in a small town called 108 Mile House. Believe it or not, their towns up there along the Gold Rush Trail towards Alaska were called 100 Mile House, 105 Mile House, 108 Mile House. And they basically in those days were small houses, hotels or whatever that people would stop at on the wagon train route all the way up to Alaska. And it was amazing up there, beautiful fall colors. So I've got some clips to play from Grant Cameron of him and I being stuck in a snowstorm, by the way, trying to get him to the airport, and then a little clip of myself appearing on Grant's radio show as well. So we've got some of that stuff to talk about in the next few minutes, but I thought I would read to you a little bit of some paranormal news that I got off of the internet, which is really fascinating because we've all heard of the To the Stars Academy, Tom DeLonge's organization that is studying, along with some ex-government officials, UFOs, UAPs, and the whole idea that these metamaterials that have come from these craft are being studied as well by Robert Bigelow and the project called the Adam Research Project, which is an acronym for something. I don't know if I can find it in this article, but it's an idea that they are studying the the pieces of UFOs that they've found, and the public has found over the years and have sent in to Tom DeLonge's To the Stars Academy to be analyzed. So let me just read you this article because I thought this was kind of fascinating. It says, over the last 3 months, the To the Stars Academy has collected 7 pieces of material from multiple sources to study for the ATOM research project. Each sample represents different elements of potential unidentified aerial phenomena and how they operate. Now that's fascinating right there. Each sample represents different elements of potential unidentified aerial phenomena and how they operate. According to the accompanying provenance document, there are 2 classes of samples: materials that were released as the UAP was hovering, and materials that make up parts of the structure or systems of the UAP or UFO. Because none of this documentation can be independently verified, the TSS Academy's ATOM testing approach is structured to look for other indicators of unique origin, such as, wait till you hear this, unusual chemical combinations or alloys, isotopic ratios that indicate the material was created outside of our solar system. Can you imagine that? Or unusual structural composition. One artifact on loan to the TTSA for analysis is a magnesium zinc bismuth sample, which has been the source of discussion and speculation for years. The supply documentation states that it is from a UFO crash recovery. While this source cannot be verified, this is a particularly interesting sample for various reasons. And I will just read these reasons and then we'll get back to the show here. The material is clearly engineered with distinct layers of magnesium and bismuth at structured thicknesses only microns thick. That's like, atoms thick, this material, or the layers of this material. There's no precedent for this structured combination of materials. It is unclear what fabrication processes allow this combination of materials to form an integrated structural component. Theoretical analysis shows that the material acts as a waveguide for terahertz frequencies. So interesting. They are able to detect potentially the terahertz frequency in this material, or at least responding to this material. Those wavelengths normally would not propagate through this geometry. One side of the sample appears to be tooled, having a defined contour, and there has been an extensive amount of testing on the material. The true purpose or function of the material remains unknown. Okay, so the TSSA is already started testing several material samples and will be reporting these results as the completed analysis becomes available. So that is just one interesting thing that is going on in the paranormal news and coming out of Tom DeLonge's organization. Now, when I was able to hang out with Grant Cameron this past weekend, he was confirming with me that his contacts at Tom DeLonge's organization say there is going to be some brand new releases of these analyses of these materials, probably in January or February of next year, shortly coming down the road. So suppose there's going to be some new stuff coming on that Tom DeLonge will be reporting on. So I will be looking forward to those kinds of things coming down the road.
Maureen speaking.
And, well, Maureen speaking. How are you? This is Maureen Morgan, everybody.
Hello there, everybody. This is Maureen Morgan. I'm glad to be here tonight.
Well, thank you very much for being available for us, Maureen. Of course, if folks don't know, maybe in Australia or the UK, Maureen Morgan is